I haven't really been on here in a while, and there's been a few reasons for that. I've been kind of doing some changes in my life, and I don't know. I am going to be making some more videos, though, pretty soon, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys an update. I'm kind of like, you know, my little boy is 2 now. I'm like really actually 2.5, and I've started to really think about things, you know, started to really sink in about what kind of a parent I want to be, what, you know, what I want to be in my son's eyes, you know, and like, because I want him to look up to me, you know, and I want him to hold me to be like the example of what a man should be, what he should, you know, what he would want to strive to be, you know, like the same way I feel about my dad. And so basically I gotta get my shit together, you know, I gotta clean my act up, because I want to be the standard for which he holds himself to, you know. And maybe, you know, really I want him to do better than me, but me being the prime example for him, it's up to me. Like, I have to hold myself responsible in many ways of how he's gonna grow and develop as, you know, as he gets older. And so I've been working on a lot of things lately. One of the main things is getting out of debt. You know, giving up a lot of my vices, which is quite a bit, that's quite a struggle, you know, like whether you got vices of impulse buying, which I do, you know, if I've got money laying around, I tend to spend it, and especially if there's something out there that I want, and that it's within, you know, what's within my grasp, or, you know, my financial means, I tend to just go get it, you know, and that's not really a good way to do things, and it has resulted in me accumulating quite a bit of debt. But I started back in March. I quit impulse buying things. I literally haven't bought anything since March. No new guns, no new reloading equipment, no new toys or anything. Like, I really have just cut all of that BS out, and I just have really been focusing on paying my debts off. And so in March, I literally added up all of the open accounts that I have, like with my mortgage on my home, my car payments, all the credit cards that I've got, which is, you know, now that I'm looking at it, it's pretty insane. You know, I've talked to some older people, and you know, like, yeah, I've got a couple credit cards that have like really, really high limits. You know, I can get really out of control with them if I want to, and well, one of them I have. And then, you know, I had a couple personal loans and stuff. And so, like, all told, I had 8 open credit lines, you know, like, that I owed money on in March. And from March until now, the end of June, I've cut that in half. I now only have 4 open, and they're big. They're the big ones, you know, the house, the car, one big credit card. What else? There's something else, but oh yeah, my student loans, which, God, that was the biggest waste of money I've ever had in my life right there. As, you know, I mean, go to college if you want to, and like, you're really, really gonna stick with it. I didn't, and I've got a whole bunch of student loans that I'm paying back because of it. of course, you know, there are those student loan relief programs and stuff, but when you are a white male that's 30 years old and you make a certain amount of money a year, they tend to not really favor you very well, and so you're at the bottom of the list. You know, if there's anything left over in their whole student loan relief program, you might get a little bit of it. I've just, at this point, I'm like, I don't even mess with that crap anymore. I'm just going to pay my debt off, you know, because I took out those loans. It's my responsibility to pay it off. And I'm not, you know, I'm not one of these whiny liberal kids that went and spent, you know, took out $100,000 in student loans to get some stupid fine arts degree that they can't get a job in, you know, and then they're like, oh, you know, the government should pay my loans off. Like, no, you friggin' moron. You chose to take those loans out. It's your responsibility to pay them back. You know, but aside from that, you know, paying my debt down, and I am going to get actually in depth with that. I will do a whole series on that, and it's been quite a process, but it's going really well. And I can honestly say, I'm like, every time I pay one of those accounts off, it's like, man, like a huge weight lifted. You know, it's like I just freed up this much money every month that I am no longer, like, it's no longer committed to something else. You know, like, I can use it for whatever I want, but what I'm using it for is paying off the next account. You know what I'm saying? And it's going really well. Of course, there's probably some other tricks and stuff to getting out of debt that I don't know, and that could be a better way of doing it than the way I'm doing it. But the way I'm doing it is working for me, and so I'm just going to keep doing it that way. You know, so I've quit the impulse buying and stuff. You know, as far as other vices go, like, I do tend to like to drink a couple beers, you know, literally every day. I've done that for 10 years, probably, and you know, here and there, I miss a day or two of drinking, having my daily beer, but, and it's like, I don't know if maybe I'm actually truly addicted to it or not, or if it's just I've done it for so long and it's been such a habit of mine that if I don't do it, it just feels weird, like my daily ritual isn't complete, like something's off if I don't. And so that's going to be a hard one to deal with. That's my next goal, is to quit drinking alcohol every day. You know, like once a week or once a month or something, and really try not to make it turn into like a binge scenario, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, sorry about the whole lighting situation up there, blowing out the screen. Anyways, and I really want to get back into fitness. I've been working on that actually quite a lot. I've been running a lot lately. I think so far this month I've run a little over 30 miles. So I'm getting there. Of course, it's the end of the month, and I ended up a couple weeks ago getting some really bad shin splints, and I've had to take a couple days off, and then I'd try to run again, and then it would just flare back up. So at this point, I've been off for about a week, but I want my son to look up to me. Like, if we go to the beach or something, or go to the lake, and, you know, because kids do that. They're going to compare you, like, your kid's going to compare you to everybody else out there, you know? And I want my son to look at me and say, damn, my dad's, like, in way better shape than any of these other dudes out here. Like, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want him to look at me and look at me as if I was a superhero, you know? And so I've really got to fix my diet and get back into daily training, you know. And so basically, I'm doing things I don't really want to do. And I think, you know, several people have said this. David Goggins is probably one of them, Joe Rogan, people like that. But doing things that you hate doing or don't want to do, but forcing yourself to do it every day anyways, that's how you grow as a person. It's doing the hard stuff that you don't want to do. And I'm really, you know, trying to do that. Like the whole quitting drinking thing, that's something I don't necessarily want to do, you know, and it's something that I find kind of difficult because I enjoy it every day. It's like, that's what I do at the end of the day when I get home. I have a couple beers and I play with my kid and, you know, spend time with my wife. But, you know, I don't have to drink to do those things. It's just something that I've done for so long that, you know, it's a habit, and it's not necessarily a good one because I think about how much money that is every year. And I mean, if I just quit that right there alone, I could afford to, you know, buy whatever gun I wanted. Like if I wanted a new gun, no problem. I could go get me a super badass $3,000-$4,000 rifle every year, you know, for the same amount of money that I spend on alcohol that I'm just pissing out anyways. So I don't know if you guys are in that same boat or not, or maybe you're in a worse off boat. I don't know. But I also would like my son to look at his mother, my wife. I would like him to look at her and hold her like to the standard of which, like, if he's gonna grow up and like chase women and stuff like everybody does, all little boys do or all men do. I don't know, there's some millennials these days that they're not even interested in women. And I mean, I get it a little bit, you know, but I would like him to view his mom as like the standard of which to hold all other women to. Like, you know, if he's gonna like look for a mate or you know, a date, whatever, he needs something to look forward to and look, you know, he needs someone to look up to like set the standards for like what you would want to go for. Because, you know, let's just face it, women, just like men, they're not all on the same level, and some of them are really terrible and some of them are really great. And, you know, I want him to have the idea of what he needs to look for in a woman, you know, how kind and loving and caring she is and responsible she is. That's a big thing for me. And so, like, I want our son to look at me and his mom, you know, I want him to look at his parents as if we are the standard, the bare minimum of what he needs to hold himself to, and he needs to hold other people to. And but it's going to be a whole process. Other than that, I really hadn't been shooting a lot lately. I've actually been working with a guy in Idaho building me a custom 70 MOA pick rail to go on the Browning 1885 high wall. As much as I wanted to install that MVA Soleil sight with like the 400-minute of angle adjustment range, as much as I wanted to be able to use that sight on that rifle, I've come to the conclusion that, you know, that rifle, the way Browning designed them, they don't have a tang at the rear of the action like normal 1885s do, like a Winchester or something. And so there really is no way to mount that sight unless you do an inlet into the stock itself, and then, you know, have epoxy in like a metal plate or something to mount the sight to. But, and it could be done. I don't know. I just don't want to do that to that wood stock on that rifle. So I found a guy in Idaho that makes custom-made Picatinny rails, sight mounts, and that's what he does for a living. And so I had custom ordered one in the 70 MOA. I got it in. It looked great and everything. The finish on it was amazing, you know, and everything. But when I went to mount it on the rifle, there were little issues with it looked like some measurements were a little off. Hole spacing was perfect, but the angles were a little off, and so I had to take a bunch of measurements and pictures and send them back to him. And so he's working on correcting that. I haven't heard anything about it in a little while, but hopefully in a few days or maybe next week we'll get another one in and see how it goes. Because my goal is to put that SWFA scope back on there, because it has 145 minutes of angle of elevation adjustment. So if I use a 70 MOA rail, that's going to give me 142.5 MOA of usable elevation range, which on that rifle is not going to get me super far, but it will get me to at least 1,000 yards, maybe a little further than that. And so that, for that cartridge, for that bullet, 1,000 yards is like just a ridiculous distance to even be attempting to shoot it anyways. Because it's a pistol cartridge, it's, you know, that 454 Casull. But with the help of Alco bullets and using their 300 grain ULD smokeless muzzleloader bullets, it actually, you know, with the really high ballistic coefficient, and they shoot really actually pretty good as far as grouping goes, and they seem to be stable out of that gun. They do allow me to shoot quite a bit flatter than just shooting a 300 grain, you know, flat point or something out there. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys an update that there are some things, you know, I'm just kind of changing and getting out of debt, giving up my vices, or getting away from having vices, because I mean, everybody has them. Like, if you smoke, that's a vice. If you drink like I do, that's a vice. You know, if you're into watching porn, that's a vice. That's like, these are things you do that are not really healthy things. They're not good for you, you know. And I want to, I guess really the easiest thing to do would be to replace your unhealthy vices with healthy ones, like going to the gym, eating right, that sort of thing. And so I'm on a journey, as it were. That's where I'm headed towards. I'm going to try to do better and be better, and be a far better example for my son. I want him to look up to me and be like, you know, I want him to look at me as being like the coolest person on the planet, you know. And I think if every dad should feel that way, you know, every dad should want their son or their daughter to look at them that way, as if their dad is the best thing there is. And their mom too. You know, they need to look at their mom the same way. And if your kid is looking at somebody else, like he's got a different role model, you know, in his life that's not you, and looks at that person as being better than you, then you're probably not doing something right. I'm just gonna say that. It's a brutal, honest truth, but you're probably not doing something right if your kid is looking up to someone else instead of you. So that's just some stuff I've been thinking about lately. Is just, I don't know, being a dad has really changed me, and I think changed me in many good, like, better ways. You know, changed me in a really good, positive way. And I just kind of want to share some of that stuff with you, so you know where I've been, what I've been doing. It's been like a mental and spiritual journey the past few months of all this stuff just really kind of sinking in. And like, especially over the past month when I've been running a lot, and I don't know, when I run I think, and just been thinking a lot all the time. And you know, when you get the chance to do that and you're not distracted by a bunch of stuff, you realize that, you know, like, you have things that occur to you that you normally wouldn't, and you would just keep going on with your life. So I really think that setting aside time for, like, introspection, you know, like self-evaluation, if you can set time away or for that, you know, once a week or so, or even, you know, if you can do it every day, that's probably the best. But it's really important. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you this weekend when I do a review on a kind of a scout rifle setup I've come up with.